Hello and welcome. In the world of AI, raw power is one thing, but trust is everything. We can build these brilliant, incredibly complex artificial minds, but honestly, if people can't rely on them, what's the point? Today, we're going to dig into the blueprint for building that trust, and it really all comes down to two main pillars: the quality of the data an AI is built on, and the clarity of how it communicates.
So let's just start with this fundamental question. Your AI might be able to crunch 1 million data points a second, and it might find patterns no human ever could. That's amazing. But if your users, your customers, even the regulators can't trust its outputs, then all of that brilliance is pretty much worthless, right? So how do we fix this? Well, it starts with a pretty simple metaphor.
To build trust, you really need two things, and I want you to think of it like this. First, data is the lifeblood. The quality of the information an AI takes in directly affects its health and its reliability. You've heard it a million times: garbage in, garbage out. It's a cliché for a reason. Second, communication is the megaphone. This is all about how clearly the AI explains itself and its decisions. You absolutely need both of these to build a system that people can actually believe in.
Okay, first up, let's dive into the data pipeline, because trust doesn't just show up at the end with the final output. It starts with the very first byte of data that enters your system.
It's really tempting to think of data management as just one single event. But this visual shows the real story. It's a structured journey. From the moment you collect the data all the way through to how you present it, every single step is an opportunity to either build trust or completely undermine it.
So let's break that journey down into 4 really crucial steps, which are actually outlined in ISO 4200, the big international standard for managing AI. First up, acquisition. Where is this data even coming from? Second, quality. Is it accurate? Is it biased? Third, provenance. Can you trace the data's history, its origin story? And finally, preparation. How do you clean it up and get it ready for the model?
Let's make this real with a running example, a tool we'll call Agentic GenBI. Now, it might pull data from all over: sensitive internal HR records, public financial data, even synthetic, fake data for testing. The key point here, and this is a core principle of trustworthy AI, is that you can't just scrape this data and hope for the best. You have to know and meticulously document every single source.
And this really gets to the heart of data quality and provenance. Just think about it for a second. If the historical data used to train our Agentic GenBI is flawed, the AI is going to treat those flaws as the absolute truth. So its business intelligence won't just be wrong, it'll be confidently wrong. And that can lead to some really bad decisions. Knowing the data's history, its provenance, is how you spot these issues before they poison your whole system.
Okay, so we have clean, documented data. That's our lifeblood. Now for the megaphone, providing clear, honest information to everyone who's affected by the AI.
So who exactly are these interested parties? Well, it's a much broader group than you might think. It's not just the person clicking the button. We're talking about your customers, we're talking about regulators who might come in and audit you, and maybe even the general public if your AI has a big societal impact. And each of these groups needs different kinds of information, so your communication plan has to cover all of them.
Let's focus on the end user for a minute. For them to trust an AI, they have to understand it. It's that simple. This means you have to be upfront about its purpose, its limitations, what it can't do, and even things like its acceptable error rates. And this is so critical. You have to define the level of human oversight that's required. You need to be explicit and say, hey, don't blindly trust this output. A person needs to review it.
And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. On the left, you get a typical, unhelpful alert, critical margin warning. What am I supposed to do with that? It just causes panic. But on the right, you get a trustworthy, explainable output. It tells you what it predicts, why it predicts it, and most importantly, it explicitly calls for a human review. Now that is an output a user can actually work with.
Trust isn't just for when things are going great. It's truly tested when things go wrong. And that's why having an incident response plan is so critical. You have to decide before a data breach or a performance dip happens: who are you going to tell, what are you going to say, when are you going to say it? Having this documented plan is the difference between transparency and total chaos.
Finally, with good data and clear communication in place, we get to the last piece of the puzzle: ensuring responsible use.
This is really where the rubber meets the road. You are required to define and enforce how the AI is meant to be used. So Agentic GenBI was built to analyze financial data. That's its safe, intended purpose. But what if a manager tries to feed it sensitive employee health data to make firing decisions? That's not just a bad idea, it's a dangerous misuse. A trustworthy system needs to have controls, both technical and policy-wise, to prevent the tool from being used outside its documented, safe boundaries.
So let's bring it all home. Building a trustworthy AI isn't just one thing. It's a complete blueprint. It starts with managing data, flows through communicating clearly, and ends with ensuring responsible use.
So if you remember just one thing, let it be this. It's a simple, but an incredibly powerful equation. When you combine great, well-managed data with clear, transparent communication, you get trustworthy AI. Having one without the other is simply not enough. It just doesn't work.
And I'll leave you with this final thought. A black box, well, it takes in data and spits out an answer with absolutely no explanation. It's a mystery. But a glass box allows users to see inside, to understand the data, the process, and the limitations. So when it comes to building AI that people can actually rely on, the question you have to ask yourself is this: are you building a black box or are you building a glass box?